Morning. All right, we'll be starting in a few minutes. If y'all have a signal, text your friends. Tell a friend to tell a friend to come on down so that we can start not on time, but on time for us. So y'all tell your folks to come on and we're gonna get started soon. Asheo. That's right. It's just a time construct. It's a social construct, so they say. Unless you have a flight, then be on time, friends. Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. A little bit more energy. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Oh, yeah. I hope y'all are well rested. Let me check the temperature in the room. Let's see. Who played a game of spades last night? Just raise your hand. Got a couple. Just two? I'm shocked. Who played dominoes last night? Okay, one. I'm shocked. Who curled up with a good book last night? All right, we doing okay. Who went to sleep at 8 o'clock? There we go. There we go. Me, that was me. All right, wonderful. But we are all here. Turn to your neighbor to the left and say, good morning, neighbor. Turn to your neighbor to the right and say, good morning, neighbor. All right, we are going to get started with some music to raise the vibration even more than it's raised now. And then we're going to move on with the rest of our morning. That sounds good to y'all? You feeling good? All right, y'all give it up to our comrades who offered us some love yesterday. They are community movement builders, the Sacramento chapter. Clap for them. Show them some love, y'all.
Mic check, check, check.
Check. Check. Check, check, check. Check, check.
Y'all want to give us a drum? Y'all can clap, snap, whatever. Hey. F they thoughts, F they prayers. Lack of intention only goes so far. Action could be your savior, but you steady getting left in the dark, my nigga. F they thoughts, F they prayers. Lack of intention only goes so far. Action could be your savior, but you steady getting left in the
dark, my nigga.
Yeah. Take it back to school with the 1-2-2. Where's your intent lacking political muse? Haven't picked up a book since on the Yoo-Hoo. They screaming rain, what did hip-hop ever do to you? But when it rains and pours, the mud is bound to get thicker. Think for yourself, we gotta move bigger. Field nigga to house nigga, billionaires is ops nigga. Light enters open wounds, no wonder y'all's flicker. Kept my head up, heart open, morals fast. And comparing entendres, but dignity's a disaster. Good morning, grand rising, tongue is still in your masters. Long live Mumia and all political captives. Balance, resilience, and empathy. Look at me, kept my heart like sun. Met my eye, now I'm free. Been holding my breath to see what y'all could achieve. Consider this a toll-free courtesy. I see beyond the moon, beyond the clouds, beyond Sirius, far beyond this town. Look, I love you, Sacramento, but you're all about to drown. Be a part of something bigger than yourselves.
If they thoughts, if they prayers, lack of intention only goes so far. Action can be your savior,
but you steady getting left in the dark, my nigga.
If they thoughts and they feelings, we never needed their opinions. Niggas wanna race to 1 million, but that's never gonna stop the killings. You ever step front line with tears in your eyes, not knowing it's showtime, your name begin to rise, and now the pig's planning, and all that pressure mounts, you stay down for the count, or you punch your way out. See, I rumble in the jungle, Ali shuffle in the scuffle. I come from the city, so all he knew was hustle, but we struggle for the people. A real nigga resistance, talk all that soldier shit, but you niggas steady missing words and weapons, students and soldiers. It's time to go to war. You better learn how to load up. These crackers ain't playing. House niggas ops too. If they got sis like a Sada, I'm coming through like Sekou. Check your pulses, you really getting active. Get on your marathon, nigga, get to lapping. F all that theory, nigga, show me what you practice. Get up in the game, nigga, show me what your stats is. Get up in the game, nigga, show me what your stats
Lack of
is.
intention only goes so far. Action could be your savior, but you steady getting left in the dark, my nigga. F they thoughts, F they prayers. Lack of intention only goes so far. Action could be your savior, but you steady getting left in the dark, my nigga. So we wrote that tune, right, a couple of years ago. We had lost our building for programming, lost our volunteers. When you down bad, you realize who really with you, you feel me? We lost a lot, but we gained so much because we stayed consistent, we stayed persistent, we stayed determined, we stayed focused, we remained in love. Right? We were running 14 programs out of a 1-bedroom trap house with the ceiling falling down, gas leak. And, you know, when folks come to you in those times and they're like, I'll pray for you. You don't want to hear that. What are you going to do about it? You could pray for me, but also take action, right? We have to read and take action. We have to practice discourse and take action. Appreciate y'all.
Y'all give it up one more time. Yeah. With much needed messages. I'm going to download the uncensored version though, friends, because I need that in my life. Okay, but we got children in the room, okay? Hey, children. All right, y'all, we're going to move. Say it again. Oh, where can we find the song? Vervain, R-A-I-I-N, Ali. Okay, wonderful. Keep the claps going and welcome back Fruit of Labor, y'all. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
I bring you greetings of solidarity again.
222.
Black Workers for Justice, Cultural Commission, and its Fruit of Labor Singing Ensemble, and all of the many young leaders in our Fruit of Labor World Cultural Center are going to be a part of this particular song, and we're just happy to, again, share in this great gathering we have. We're glad to hear that there's a follow-up, because we got to really begin to dig into the base of our communities with neighborhood groups and tenant unions and a host of other forms of organization that we can mobilize in this fight that we have ahead. Not that we haven't been fighting over the last bunch of centuries or decades, but we got to be better organized in terms of our own local communities, neighborhoods, apartment buildings, workplaces. And we stand here together to show that kind of effort. That's what all these folks here represent. They're digging into workplaces, restaurant workers, meatpacking companies, public service unions, neighborhoods. That's what Black Workers for Justice have been doing for over 40-something years. So this song we're going to sing is entitled what, Ned?
We're going to do a little bit of Sweet Honey in the Rocks, Ella's song.
Now, what does that speak to? Our youth. All of our organizations should be trying to mobilize and organize as many of our youth as they can. So a tribute to Sister Ella Baker. I want to also make this a tribute to also who just passed, Sister Dr. Bernice Reagan, who helped train the Fruit of Labor, and the many other people like Amira Baraka, who's been a part of developing what we've been developing over the last 40 years all around the cultural question.
And then we'll go into a little bit of endangered species for all the strong women that I've seen here today.
All right. And we need y'all to do a little animation up in here. Do a little Temptations or some motion up in here.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in mother's sons is as important as the killing of white men. White mother's sons. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Freedom cannot
We
rest.
who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. That which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Freedom
We
cannot rest.
who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. To me, young people come first.
They come first.
They have the courage where we fail.
We fail.
And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gale, we who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Freedom
We
cannot
who
rest.
believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way our struggle survives. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. No, 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 we who believe in freedom cannot rest till it comes.
Now I'm a woman who speaks in a voice,
In a voice.
and I must be heard.
I will be heard.
At times I can be quite difficult. How about to no man's word?
No, no, no. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Freedom,
No, 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 we who believe in freedom cannot rest till it comes.
All right. Tribute to our youth. If our organizations are not nourishing and increasing the leadership capacity of our youth, we have no future. So let's make sure we carry Ella's song with us every day in our hearts and in our work every day. This next song.
All right. Endangered species. I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman. I'm an artist. I know where my voice belongs.
Yeah, I just want to remind people too that we also have a women's commission in our organization. It has always struggled against our patriarchy, our chauvinism. Very proud of the Sisters and Black Workers for Justice and their women's commission. We have a women's commission in our organization. And we need to consistently take up those questions that we always have to take up, because to this day, this is still a major challenge in our movement.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman. I am an artist, and I know where my voice belongs.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman. I am an artist.
I know where my voice belongs.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman. I am an artist.
I know where my voice belongs.
I'm a woman. I exist.
Bum, bum,
I
bum.
shake my fist, but not my hips. My skin is dark, my body is strong. I sing of a rebel. No
Bum, bum,
victim
bum,
song.
I sing no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs. I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim songs. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs.
What out my sex, got my feet, silence my reflex, no tongue to speak. I work in the fields, I work in the stores, I save up the deals, and I mop the floors. Come on, y'all.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs. I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim songs. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs.
My body is fertile, it brings life about. Drugs, famine, and wars, take them back out. My husband can't feed me, his righteous say, rape isn't rape. You sound like it that way. Oh no, 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 no.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim songs. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs. I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs. Remix. Boom, boom, boom.
Come on, come on,
Boom, boom, boom.
come on, come on.
Boom, boom, boom. 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 Boom, boom, boom.
My body is fertile, it brings life
Boom,
about.
boom,
Drugs,
boom.
famine, and wars, take them back
Boom,
out.
boom.
My husband can't feed me, his righteous
Boom, boom,
say,
boom.
rape isn't rape. You sound like it that way. Oh no, 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 no.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs. I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim songs. I am a woman, I am an artist. I know where my voice belongs.
I know where my voice belongs. I know where I belong.
All right. Fruit of Labor Singing Ensemble, Black Workers for Justice Cultural Commission,
More
Fruit of
love,
Labor
more
World
love,
Cultural Center,
more
and our
love.
Fruit of Labor volunteers. And we want to acknowledge our music director, Lee Tate. He's in there somewhere. Our music director, Lee Tate.
More love, more love, more love,
Lee
more
Tate, our
love.
music director. All right, we want to thank you, and we'll see you on the battlefront.
That's right. Y'all give it up one time for Fruit of Labor. I am We got some bangers that's going to be stuck in our heads on the way home. All right, y'all. We are a little bit behind schedule, but that was so beautiful. I know that art and creativity and song is part of the reason that we've made it as African people, Yabo. It's part of the reason that we are so strong, and so we are grateful for our artists and community. All right, we're going to move it along. Y'all ready for this good plenary? All right, I'm going to let Kamal come on up to introduce our panelists for the morning. Y'all give it up to this light-skinned brother. He's so light-skinned, dude. All right. Wait, let me start over. Y'all give it up for CMB Director Kamal Franklin.
Can you guys hear me? Testing, 1, 2. Okay. Can we have all our panelists make it to the stage? I'd rather do the intros when folks are coming up. I see 3, Melina. Roger, is Roger here? Did Roger make it? That's you, Roger, coming down? Thank you. No, do your thing. I'm gonna do. I have the questions where I want to do the questions, so don't make a difference. Yeah, everybody take. Oh, So really quick, for those with young people, childcare is in the back. If you want to take your young folks to childcare, we have somebody in the back that can take them to childcare for you. So please don't hesitate if you need to take your young ones to childcare if that's what you want. Okay. So thank y'all for coming. This last plenary, I referred to it as the most controversial. I think somebody disagreed in their discussion. It didn't say it was controversial at all. But the reason I said that when I made my statement was because I know that electoral politics in some form or format, one has always been part of the struggle, but it has always also been part of a debate, ongoing debate around what is its use and role in the idea of Black liberation. And when we talk about Black liberation, my definition of it is, you know, how do we get land, freedom, our own government, own our own programs, neighborhoods, institutions, that to me, and fight capitalism at the same time. So what is the role of electoral politics in trying to make that happen? And so I think that's what we want to have a discussion about, both electoral politics in the state of what do you do if you're involved in electoral politics, as in the current system that works. And there are some folks who are involved in trying to set up new systems outside the system who are also here to talk about the role of a form of electoral politics in that way. Folks here to talk about independent parties, liberation struggles, and so forth. So I want to sort of have, I call my questions interrogations, because I want to dig deep into the idea and the aspects of like what it is, what do we get out of it, and the rest of it. I've been interrogating, my other father is here, Charles Barron. I'm sorry. So I'm not, I don't want to get you in no trouble. I won't get you in no trouble. Charles has put up with me for years from Brooklyn days and always asking him questions and stuff like that. And Charles has been one of the best folks involved to talk about that struggle. So I just wanted to give an honorary mention to that before I get started. Not that he's really my dad, but you know what I'm saying. Y'all can see I'm searching. I got daddy. I'm searching at my old age. So, and we both kind of light skinned, so you know. In fact, maybe it could be Ashanti and, you know, Charles could be, you know, daddy duty. But anyway, let me stop. So I want to do the intros really quick, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to read everybody's full bios, but I'm going to try to read as much as possible. We're going to start with Inez Barron. Yes. Born in Brooklyn in 1946, she has been a Black radical organizer since the 1960s. Ms. Barron worked as a New York public school teacher for 36 years before beginning a second career in politics. She would be elected to office in 2008 to represent East New York, both in the state assembly and then the city council, swapping seats with her husband, Charles Barron. Next is Brother Charles Barron, who is an activist and politician who served in New York City's city council, representing Brooklyn's 42nd district from 2022 to 2023. He previously held the same seat from 2002 to 2013 and served in the New York Assembly from the 60th district from 2015 to 2022. He's a former member of the Black Panther Party and a self-proclaimed elected activist. Right. Our next panelist is Roger Evans Jr., who is an organizer with the Ujima Party People's with the Ujima's People's Progress Party, with a focus on tenets and Black social ecology. His work is rooted in the belief that we are our own liberators and that we can build a better world from the one we have now. Next, we also have Brother Jihad. Jihad, say your last name. I always mess it up. Say it for me. I won't mess it up because, you know, you don't always I'm not messing that up.
Abdul, everybody knows Abdul.
Abdul
Mumit.
Abdul Mumit
is an attribute of Allah that says he created things, but he also causes his destruction and demise. So the creator is the creator and also causes the end. So
thank you so much, brother, man.
Thank you.
Jihad is the chairperson of the National Jericho Movement, who supports political prisoners in the United States and campaigns to win the freedom. He is a community activist, motivational speaker, playwright, retired healthcare provider. Jihad was a domestic political prisoner and prisoner of war. He served 23 years of his life in prison for his involvement in the Black Liberation Movement. He joined the Black Panther Party at 16 years of age and eventually went underground in the Black Liberation Party. And next we have Melina Abdullah, who is a professor and former chair of Pan-African African Studies at California State University, Los Angeles. She earned her PhD and MA from the University of Southern California in political science and her BA from Howard University in African American Studies. She is appointed from the Los Angeles County Human Rights Relations Commission. She's also, and a leader, one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. All right. So I want to start off with the question of, and this is kind of an open question, and I want you, any of you, to jump in with this particular question. And again, it's supposed to be a question to Curry Thought or whatever. So what is to be gained for Black resistance, as I stated earlier, defined as Black people collectively fighting against capitalism, establishing independent institutions, pushing back against white nationalism, creating space for Black collective struggle? What is to be gained for Black resistance via the use of electoral politics? Very open question, but anybody who wants to jump in, and then we'll let other folks answer as they show. We'll pass the mic around because we have 3 or 4 mics.
Well, I'll get it started. Black power. Black power. Say it like you mean it. Black power. Black power. For Black people. Black people. Power. Power. I'm not talking about you saying it again. That's part of my speech.
Wait a minute, speech.
No, I'm just kidding. Power is the great equalizer. Racism becomes irrelevant when you have power. And that's why we got into the electoral arena. Power. Every revolutionary movement I can think of, power, state power, they had to deal with. Whether it was Fidel Castro running for office before they went into guerrilla warfare, or Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, all of them dealt with state power. So what we did in East New York, we decided that our greatest opposition is not Donald Trump. It is the neo-colonial Black puppets of the Democratic Party. That is our greatest enemy. Our greatest enemy. So what we had to do is say, you can call them names, you sell out Negroes, low life, bootlickings, whatever. They don't care. You got to take them out of office. So what we decided to do is deal with the Democratic primary as a strategy, a tactic. We're not Democrats with the big D. We dealt with it as they hate us. Most people that run against us is Hakeem Jeffries. People who run against us is Eric Adams. There you go. So now you know why we ran. They are the ones, Letitia James, another sellout. See, y'all don't say much about that because she's a sister. See what I'm saying? Or y'all don't know her. Or y'all don't know her. Sellout sister. Anyway, so what we decided to do, we saw the city council had power to determine what's going to be built in our district. It's the city council that's bringing Cop City to Atlanta. It's the city council that's trying to do it in New York. So Inez and I said, let's get some power. And I'll say this and move it on. We beat the machine. We beat the most powerful Democratic Party machine in the country, the Kings County Democratic Organization. We had to do a Burkina Faso on them. We did a Ibrahim Traore on them. We got out the puppets like ECOWAS, like the puppets in ECOWAS. We got them out, but here's the key. Once you get in, don't change up on us. Don't change up on us. Don't try to rationalize it by saying I'm trying to get stuff for the community, so I got to be cool. I don't have a cool bone in my body. When I got in, I told them that I was not wearing shirts and ties. It was required I said, they said, why not? I said, because I'm African. They said, African? What African country did you come from? I said, I don't know. You stole me and brought me here. So I don't know. We fought that, but we were able to stop gentrification. We are not gentrified, not in my area, because we know what the AMI should be for housing, the area median income. We have no gentrification. My district was 90% Black and Latina, and 21 years ago, and it still is today. It still is no gentrification. We made the state assembly, joined the Jericho movement, and we were able to get Herman Bell out, Black Liberation Army, Jalil Montecume out, Black Liberation Army, Seth Hayes, Black Liberation Army, we got them out. So electoral politics has its limitation. What isn't controversial? Marching is controversial. Having conferences and not doing anything else, not y'all, it's controversial. What isn't controversial? That's what the white man just said to me. You're controversial. What that mean? It says that means people disagree with you. So how come George Bush ain't controversial? How come Donald Trump ain't controversial? Just the black men are controversial. Black women are controversial. So we took over the electoral arena in our district, and we brought in new libraries, new schools, jobs for our people, violence interrupter programs, millions of dollars to brothers and sisters coming out of incarceration. Why? Because we had power and we had material benefits that you pay to capitalism. You pay it to the state. So now we're demanding that it be used for us. And I'll close with Amilcar Cabral. Amilcar Cabral said, our people are not fighting for ideas in your head. They're fighting for material benefits and a future for their children. Tell no lies, claim no easy victories. Straight ahead.
Straight ahead, straight ahead. First of all, I have to say, I am so happy and thankful to see all of you here at this conference. Give yourselves a big hand. Big hand to the organizers, to those of you who paid your way or found a way to get here. And it is just invigorating for me to see so many young people, those of you who are my age, in the 80s area, 1980s, coming forward in 80s in terms of age. We're invigorated to see so many young people, to know that you have that mindset and that we may have planted some seeds generations ago that we now see sprouting in you. Give yourselves a big hand, you deserve it. The electoral arena is important, as Charles has said, and that is my husband of 42 years. It's important because what we realized was that our demonstrations was great to get people's awareness raised, but it wasn't making changes. So we did a deep dive into analyzing where are the people sitting in what seats that will be able to make those changes. And we saw that in our community, it was the city council, more than the mayor, who's an individual who has that title, but more than the mayor, it was the city council that was making those decisions. And if the mayor voted against it, we still could, if we could get the council mobilized, overturn the mayor. So the council in New York City is where the seat of power is in making that final determination, more than any commissions, more than the mayor. So we said that that would be our target. We did our homework. How do you get into the city council without the support of the established Democratic Party? How do you do it independently? And we made our strategies and we were successful. Now, the first time we didn't win the seat, but we were committed. We didn't think that it would, win and then that's it. No, you could struggle, you fight, you continue. We had a base of people of about 12 people, about a dozen people in Operation Power that said, we're going to do this. We're going to continue. We're going to struggle. We made a commitment to be at least 10 years to fight for the seat. Fortunately for us, our work got us the seat. After the first time we ran, we got it the second time, and we held it for 21 years. 21 years. So the deep dive has got to be what is it? What's the position that we're seeking? Who's going to be committed to do it over a decade, not wavering, not caving in? And who's going to stay true? Who's not going to get in and then become one of the number? We know a lot of people who talked a good game, and if you read their platform, it sounded good, but when they got in, they got co-opted. They moved on. And I just have to commend my husband. He doesn't cave in. It was easy for me to finally accept the invitation or the request of the community to run for the seat, because I said, well, hey, I can look at my husband, I can look at Charles, I can see that he has stood true. His integrity is unquestionable. And I can see the effect that he has had in his community, getting things done and having concrete examples of what you can do when you stay true to the people. So that's the other part, to be able to identify people who have that integrity and say, hey, if they did it, I can do it. Thank you.
So let me jump in and unless anybody, do you want to respond to that? The importance of anybody else wants to in particular?
I just want to say, go on.
I don't, Melina, I don't want to skip you either. Do you want to? You sure? Okay.
No, I really, just a couple of sentences. Assalamu alaikum, bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I just want to say that I fully support Inez and Brother Charles. They've done a phenomenal job. So I think they've answered the question pretty much. And Brother Roger may want to add something too. But I will say that the question about voting or not voting becomes almost mute if we're not trying to build our own movement for self-determination. You got a polemic conversation that's going nowhere. Do what you want to do when the curtain is closed behind the voting booth. But if you're not really trying to get down in the trenches with all of us and supporting this brother, supporting this sister, supporting the Ujima party here, then and Khalid Rahim out there, but independent party. If you're not involved in these type of things to build independence, your conversation with the next person, whether or not we should vote, man, go on and play spades and domino. Because you ain't doing nothing. Matter of fact, you in the way. You understand what I'm saying? All of this electoral thing, we're trying to build our own destiny in a new society. That's the vision. We're in a complicated situation in a place called the United States of America with 347 million people, 14% black. That's about 48 million black people. You're very complicated. You ain't gonna pick up a gat, are you? So what we have to do is we have to figure this joint out. And I salute you, Brother Charles and Sister Inez, for getting my comrades Herman and Seth and Jalil out of prison. Salute to everyone. Thank you very much.
Yeah, peace, everybody. Just to piggyback off what was already said, and to give you our brief history of Ujima, we started around 2008, around Barack Obama election, and it was, to give you an idea of what Baltimore is, Baltimore, Maryland is a predominantly beautiful black-ass city and a beautiful black-ass state, and fully controlled by a Democratic establishment. And so we saw an opportunity, and during that time, to recognizing that people were slowly shifting towards the Democratic Party, even folks that were disengaged from the process were seeing some type of value in Barack Obama. I did too. That was my first time voting, so that was, the hope and all that bullshit. And so during that time, the party started and decided this opportunity to put ourselves within the electoral arena and understand the electoral arena not as a finality, but as a extension of our struggles that start in the community. So whatever candidates that we run, those candidates aren't just starting at the electoral part. They're based off what we've already done in the neighborhood. We've already talked to our neighbors. We've already established community gardens, community fridges, tenant unions, whatever started in the community. The electoral arena is just an extension of that. And so we see ourselves as an opportunity in Baltimore, in the predominantly black area, to establish a new front in this battle. And that front is just a small piece of what we're trying to do. So appreciate y'all.
So I didn't want to be the only one to not say anything. So I just want to first say thank you for this gathering. This has fed my soul. I know a lot of us, we feel very fed, very honored to be on this panel with you all, with some of the people I respect most in this world and have been guides and models for us. So thank you, Brother Kamal, for pulling us all together. So I'll pray that the words that come out of my mouth are pleasing to God. And you talked about being beholden to the people. We should be beholden to the people, to our God, and to the spirit that is within us, what our purpose is. And when you talk about making sure we don't allow the system to change us, right? What did Huey say? Most of the time people think they're going to get in and change the system, but the system changes you, right? And so I think it's really important, these kind of groundings, for us to remember what it is we stand for, what it is we're fighting for, what it is we're trying to transform for baby Moses right there, right? So I organized with Black Lives Matter Grassroots, and I was one of the first folks on the front lines in 2013 after George Zimmerman was acquitted in the murder of Trayvon Martin. And there's going to be a lot of conversation. I hope we have a lot of conversations about what happens and what's happening in this iteration of movement. But when you talk about the Democratic Party machine, I'm very convinced that as you talk about one of the largest uprisings of Black people in global history, let's not pretend like the Democrats, the Republicans, and white supremacist patriarchal heteronormative capitalism aren't going to say, we going to knock this down, right? And so they used every mechanism they possibly could to kill the movement. But we know that we've always had freedom fighters. So I'm grateful to the Black Lives Matter grassroots crew that's sitting right here, from places like Detroit, like Phoenix, like Boise, Idaho, right? Whose chapter am I missing? That's it. And LA, right? I said Phoenix. I'm grateful because we kept fighting. And what we always understood, and as organizers, is that we have to vote and organize. And voting, we know that no oppressed people have ever simply voted themselves into freedom, but it's a mechanism. It's a tool, and we have to use every single tool in our toolbox. So I was really honored last year to run as vice presidential candidate with Cornel West, and it was one of the greatest honors of my life. We won more than 100,000 votes around the country, which is a significant number of people. And we understand what we were able to do and what we attempted to do. We didn't really realize how much money plays a role, right? Is put out ideas like we've been talking this whole conference about housing. Everybody has a right to housing, and we could have it. We could have it, right? But we got to topple we got to topple capitalism. We put predatory in the front of it because people get scared when you say, upend capitalism, but all capitalism is bad. There's no good capitalism, right? So it's really important that we think about this, but remember, it's not the only tool. So we vote and organize, and I think that, and I'll pass the mic, I think that Dr. West was intentional in choosing a running mate who's grounded in movement, so that when November comes, and surprise, surprise, it's an all black ticket, 2 Black independent candidates did not win on a platform of truth, justice, and love, at least not electorally, right? We didn't win. That we get to continue to build beyond the electoral cycle. And so I think that's what's really important, to engage, to use elections as spaces of organizing, but don't leave it there. Don't say November is done and we're going to wait till next November. I'm going to say also one more thing, that we do win some things at the ballot box. So we win candidates like the Barons. We also win pieces of elections. So in Los Angeles, we won Measure J. We won Measure R, which were funding for alternatives to policing, right? So we were able to fund to the tune of, $500 million, $500 million investment in housing and community-based public safety and those kinds of things. Those are small wins, but important wins for the people, like one of our co-founders of our prison chapter who was released as a result of the overturning of the DA. And so it's really important to engage in those victories as well.
So my next question, I'm going to ask like some specific questions to each of you about some of the work that you do. And I'll start back with you guys. And this is more about the So what have been the limitations of the struggle so far, or what have been the errors or the ways in which, because you guys are probably at, I don't want to say it out loud, retirement age for the electoral stuff. You moving outside of New York. I already know that.
You know what retirement means.
Well, so how has Operation Power, which is your primary home in which you've done this work, right? So what have been some of the good and or bad around who are the next people to hold the seat, or how has you guys have dynamic personalities as individuals, and sometimes that matters with electoral politics. But we always talk about how we need to train people to follow us, so that we can keep those seats or keep that power. And I don't know if that's the case, like in terms of you guys being out, if other folks have gotten in. So what have been the limitations in terms of trying to make the electoral project ongoing past the sort of dynamic people that started this particular project?
Excellent question. I'm glad you asked that question. That was our biggest challenge. We wanted to be known as Operation Power, an organization that had two power candidates, not the Barons. Because when it became the Barons, then it became more personality than organizational. So we pushed hard to say, no, I'm Operation Power. I'm a power candidate. You know what the Democrats did good? When you go into our community, it could be a Democratic primary. Everybody's a Democrat. They'll say, you a Democrat? I said, brother, everybody is. You need to ask me what my policies are. But they brainwashed us so much that they think, oh, I've been a Democrat all my life. So we tried to say we're power candidates, not the Barons. That was the first challenge. The second challenge is that we were victims of our success. Because we won 2 seats, plus we had Operation Power members on the board, we won a judge's seat, we won a whole lot. We wiped out the Democratic club in our district. Operation Power was stagnant because we had to now serve the people. We had 2 offices. And guess what? The good thing about it, every city council member in New York gets $5 million for capital projects, $500,000 to fund organizations, and $450,000 to hire staff. So you know who we hired? May she rest in peace, Viola Plummer. The December 12 movement was our chief of staff. Omawale Clay, a revolutionary, was our chief of staff. So we had to hire revolutionaries to keep it going. Now we have trained people. We made the mistake of not running other candidates while we ran. So like say if Kamal was with us, instead of just supporting the Barons, win them, run them for Congress, win, lose, or draw, because he gets name recognition. He gets voter name recognition. We didn't do that until much later. So Karan Allen ran for Senate and he ran for Assembly, and we're gonna get our seats back. Inez didn't run for her seat. They teamed up and got my seat back by a couple of hundred votes after 23 years. So now we're coming back with getting Karan Allen and Joy Simmons and others in our community, Alice Lohman. These are people that we're training. So we're gonna tell them, make the 10-year commitment. I got the seat at 52. Held it down. I'm 75 now. And Inez is whatever age she wants to be, but she's older than me. I'm just saying. I'm not going to tell her age. She looks younger, but she's older than me. But look how old we were to take it. And then finally, we decided that we would take this radical politics across the country. So we did establish the National Black Radical Political Congress. And we're going to have a convention in Philadelphia, October 25th to the 26th, 27th. Is that it, Raheem? Right. So we're going to establish it them at Temple University. We want people to run Black radicals across the country for the city council seats, because revolution is going to happen from the bottom up, and make sure they all have our ideology. must have ideology. Without that, don't even drop by our place.
Just to quickly follow up on that, Charles named some of the people, and we also have Operation Power member here. Yeah, Malika Jabali, she spoke on the other night. So it's about getting that consciousness and getting that message out and making the commitment. It's going to take, it's a transition. So we didn't have the continuity of the following person coming behind us, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to continue. And the other important piece, as has been said by our sister Melina, you define what winning is. You don't let them tell you, oh, you lost. No, you had some other issues or you gained some other broader platform that people now are conscious of, but you continue. You don't give up. You keep dust yourself off and yeah, we didn't get that seat, but we are going to continue to fight. So the commitment is to the struggle. And as Brother Roger has said, bring on people that you have confidence in because they have proven themselves in the past that they're going to stay committed to the cause.
Just one real quick thing. That's going to be quick. The first time I ran, I did not get the seat. We ran against the machine. I got 4,000 votes to their 6,000. I was at the train station the next morning with a flyer, smiling and say, thank you. They said, what happened? You won? I said, I took second. It was only 2 people in the race. I finished second, but I got 4,000 votes. Thank you. And I thanked them for 4,000 votes. How could that be a loss when 4,000 people voted for you? So I kept it moving.
Raj, I want to go to you. So you have you're part of a Black independent party. And obviously within electoral politics, usually it takes a lot of money to win. You have the issue of trying to run maybe Black candidates in mixed districts or whatever, or you have a powerful Black slogan that may turn off Black folks and or obviously white folks and others or whatever. So we always talk about the idea of Black independent parties. But so what if, again, maybe similar, what do you think are the real victories that you can get out of it with the limitations? And maybe talk a little bit first about the limitations or the struggles of having a Black independent party when we are a so-called 2-party system with 2 dominant billionaire parties and everything else kind of gets squashed, right? I'm sure less people know about, even Black folks, right? Know about Ujima than they know about even the Green Party, right? So how do you work? How do you feel like you get to build or attempt to build in that kind of superstructure around it?
So I'll point to the fact that when Comrade Nambi ran in 2016, he ran against, funny enough, the dude he ran against, I was in church with him. I've known the guy he ran against for 20 plus years. Nandi was the crazy dude that was just talking about some Black radical shit that I had no idea about. Fast forward 4 years later during the pandemic, working at a garden, Black Hill Institute. Shout out to my brothers, Eric and Lee back there. And somebody recruited me. They was like, hey man, you want to join Ujima? Only reason I knew about Ujima in the first place is because they ran in 2016. Brand recognition, to put it simply. So I think that's one of the things that you get from this process is that, you know, you may not have an impact the first go around, but somebody somewhere heard about you. Somebody somewhere was reminded of what you did, and they're able to come to this movement. So I look at what Ujima can do is that, you know, we can. I'll put it like this, right? What people see in Baltimore is that we have the Black Democrats that are there, and they put policies and things into place that have a good little sheen. You know, they'll say, hey. Like recently, there was a bill passed that said that landlords now have to investigate if there's mold that's in your apartment, right? But that bill, when you dig into it, has no enforcement mechanism. There's nothing in there that says you actually have to do anything. The landlord can just say, okay, that's not mold. It can be all across. That's not mold, and then there's nothing there. There's nothing there to have consequences. What we can do is expose a contradiction that's inherent in those laws. That okay, these laws will never do the job of dismantling housing from the market. These laws will never actually provide you with the substance to be able to fight against your landlords. We can provide the framework to say, okay, this is what the law looks like in this particular context with Democrat. Here's what the actual law looks like that actually has consequences in place for a landlord who's been shitting on his tenants. And so we feel like we're in a position to direct energy towards popular programs, direct energy and build popular power outside of the two-party system. And, you know, we're doing it right now. Like we have like a few weeks ago, we were with some public housing tenants who are dealing with they're currently being threatened with eviction by the local housing authority, right? Local housing director is a black woman, the mayor is black, the sheriff kick you out is black, the security guard is black. Everybody that's along that line look just like you, and they're the ones that's treat you like shit. And so we're able to tell people that okay, and folks recognize, like folks, Baltimore is our voter percentage in the last election was something like 20 some percent. So there's already the acknowledgement that these niggas, these people, these black folks, sorry. My mama watching, my fault, mama. She told me to work on that. I'm sorry. These Negroes, especially that bald-faced Negro, that's the governor. People recognize the fact that okay, something ain't right. Like we've been told all our lives that these folks supposed to represent us, and then we have again, PG County's right there, but a bunch of rich black folks. We've had all along the line. Everybody that's in positions of power look just like us. It's now we're able to say, okay, what you've been feeling that don't feel right. We know why. Like you've been this neo-colonial apparatus that tells you that having these puppets in place is going to be the way of gaining liberation is not the move. That move has to be from the ground up, from grassroots organizing and building popular power for around institutions around the things that affect everybody's everyday lives, utilities, rent, food, everything like that. And so it's been difficult. We were actually told by by black members of the Baltimore City Board of Elections that the Democrats don't want to see us on the ballot. And so when Nnamdi ran, he was able to get about 7% of the vote, over 1,000 votes. It wasn't as close as yours. It was 15,000. He got 1,000. You know what I'm saying? But it was a grassroots campaign that nobody knew about. There was no machinery behind it. He was just going out there to talk to the people. And like I said, from that particular election cycle, I was able to learn about the party. And so there's the difficulties in organizing within apparatus that is the machine is strong. It's hard as hell. Like we don't have access to the media, we don't have access to the funding, none of those things. So we look at what we have to do is start from the bottom, talk to folks, be in their faces, organize with them, not above them. And one thing that's beautiful when you get into these spaces with black folk who have no idea what organizing is, because they've experienced this cruel ass system up close and personal. The beauty and the brilliance of our people to develop, like I've seen people develop ways of researching that had they just man's a janitor, but he sees that he's being screwed up by his landlord, so he's already doing the research on like, well, who's his landlord, whatever property does he own, what are they doing? And so it's on us to cultivate that energy and direct it towards something radical instead of directing it towards a Democratic Party who's going to say, hey man, we see you, we hear you, we ain't doing shit, but we hear you and see you. And so we see, like I said, we see our job as directing that energy into a radical popular power program.
Melina, some of this you mentioned, but you talked about the fact that you and Cornell ran as independents, right? You didn't run on any party line. Right. So one, if you don't run on a party line or you don't create a party, how do you feel like the election itself was helping to build power outside of creating a party system, right? And so again, do you feel like there were benefits to running independent? And this part is not about you per se, like Cornell obviously went from Green Party to independent. I think he might have even done another party in between, but ended independent. What do you feel are the benefits and limitations of the run in terms of doing independent as opposed to either creating or joining a party?
So my PhD is in political science. I study elections. I had no idea how much money is spent by the Democrats and the Republicans to make sure that third party and independent candidates don't even get on ballots. In your state, Kamal, we got on the Georgia ballot. It was a heavy lift. You got to think about they're spending, I was trying to Google real quick how much the Dems and Republicans spent on this election, but it was great. It was more money than I can even think of, right? So we had to overcome that to get on ballots, right? We wound up getting on about 20 ballots around the country, and we made it onto the ballot in Georgia, which was a huge lift. We got on the ballot. The Democrats challenged our access to the ballot, even after the ballot was printed. You know what happened? You know what happened when you went into the polling place. There were signs up that said, we know Cornel West and Melina Abdullah are on the ballot. If you vote for them, your vote will not count. These were actual signs in the polling places. I have people, weren't supposed to take pictures, but they took photos of this. This is how far they'll go. So I dramatically underestimated what actually happens. They spent tens of millions of dollars just to keep us off of ballots. So I think that also, though, because I'm hearing you all, that also reminds us of the importance of it. If they weren't terrified of third-party candidates, they would not be spending tens of millions of dollars to keep us off ballots. So we are building new systems. I'm grateful that you're building a party, right? We did run in many states on the Justice for All party. And so we're continuing to build that party structure. It's also really, really difficult to build third parties. So in California, which is supposed to be liberal, right? They put up every hurdle to building a third party, right? You have to have this percentage of the vote that turned out to say that they're switching their party to a party that doesn't even exist yet, and it can't exist until they switch. And I mean, the whole electoral process is a farce, and we can't opt out of it, right? We should still be voting, but it's a setup. It's a setup for them to maintain power. I'll stop after I say this, that when we say that we won 100,000 votes around the country, that's 100,000 votes that were counted. More than half of the states refuse to even count the votes. They won't give us our numbers. This is the numbers that we actually were able to get. And so we need to continue to build. That 100,000 people is 100,000 people. No movement ever started with a whole lot of people. That's right. Right? The Cuban Revolution was like, if you talk to them, it was 30 people in the mountains to start, right? That's it. The Black Panther Party was 2 community college students sitting in a lunch table writing notes on a napkin, right? So 100,000 people willing to opt out of what they're told and brainwashed to believe are their only options. That's a win. We winning, y'all. Let's keep building on these wins so we can get power for our people. Yeah.
Jihad, I won't come to you because you're doing something unique or part of something unique called the People's Senate. So one, I want you to tell people what the People's Senate is. I'll give a little teaser, like it's kind of like an electoral system outside the electoral system, or a way for us to gather and organize outside of it and have a voting process. So once you describe what it is, I'm also interested in, again, hearing about what have been the difficulties of trying to organize. And I don't think it's exclusively Black, but it's probably geared towards folks who are political and radical, who do organizing. But what are the limitations of even convincing folks that we can build a structure like that outside of what they commonly know as the sort of like the electoral system, which everybody thinks, oh, that's where you vote. You don't vote in these, like, what do you mean vote for something or vote or create some new infrastructure? Like there's a system already to vote. So first tell people what the People's Senate is, and then talk a little bit again about the difficulties of convincing people or structuring it in a way that you feel makes it valuable to like this outside entity and a place for us to actually make some democratic decisions.
Right, thank you. All right, Bismillah. All right, so I appreciate your question, Kamal. And Kamal's been a supporter of this initiative. So I want to say that everything that was said here with my sister and brother here, Sister Melina and brother Roger, who I'm just meeting, that what I'm getting ready to say, we support those type of initiatives. All right, so I wanted just to build upon that. So the People's Senate is kind of like in a different lane. It's coming out of the legacy of the Black Panther Party, the Black Liberation Army, the Republic of New Africa, all these other militant revolutionary organizations from the past. I'm a former Black Liberation Army member, and I'm going to salute Shanti and my comrades Tariq and Shep and Kevin right there. is representing a legacy of fighting with weapons. And I know, like I mentioned some statistics before about, 348 million people in the United States, 14% Black, you do the math, that makes it about 47, 48 million Black people reaching that, All right, so this initiative, just cutting to the chase, it stemmed out of a tribunal that was held at the Malcolm S. Betty Shabazz Education Cultural Arts Center, which is a former Audubon in Harlem, where House Malik Shabazz was assassinated. We had a tribunal charging the United States government with the guilty of genocide, the slow genocide of Black, brown, and indigenous people. Genocide is defined by the United Nations 1948 Protocols of the Crime of Prevention of Genocide. We say slow because unlike instances of Rwanda and Bosnia-Herzegovina, what's happening in Gaza right now, and other places of the world where you can quantify it, it started here, it's probably going to end here. But with us, it meets all these qualifications, all these elements of the crime of genocide, and it's been going on so long, it's become normalized, it's become institutionalized, and unfortunately, we become complicit in our own genocide and our own demise because of our political ignorance about what's going on. As Harriet Tubman said, as a little boy, if he was here last night, Nate, I don't know if his parents are here, he did a poem, but in the poem, he was only this tall, I don't know how old he was, but he said what I'm going to say now, yes. Harriet Tubman allegedly freed, and I don't know the numbers, I'll say allegedly, but she definitely freed about 300 some odd slaves, but she's allegedly said she could have freed 1,000 more if they only knew they were slaves. If we only knew that we were slaves today, neo-colonized, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then we would be supporting the Barons, we would be supporting what Sister Melina said, we were supporting Roger in their efforts and initiatives. So here's the lane. So unlike our comrades in the past that charged genocide before, it was like 70 years ago, a group of lawyers in a room, you tender an indictment, you charge the United States guilty of genocide, of course, we know they are, and they codify everything, they book it up, we charge genocide. If you can read the book, you can look at it online, take it to the United Nations, nothing happens. Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz would roll over in his grave if he knew how impotently and reactionary, from reactionary in the sense of their lack of being able to do anything and their silence in so many things, he would roll over his grave because he said, take it to the United Nations, human rights struggles, the world struggle. So we wanted to do something more. So what we did was we organized around, it wasn't just a group of lawyers in a room. It was, and Sister Nkechi Taifa was the chief prosecutor or lawyer. I was her assistant. The Howard School of Law tendered a 90-page indictment. We had 30-some witnesses. It was over a 2-day thing. We found an international panel of 9 jurists, found the United States guilty of genocide. But what we did, what we're going to do after this? So what we did after this, we started an initiative called the People's Senate. We struggle with the word Senate because of the level of thinking, of our people. United Front, Black United Front, we wanted to embrace the masses of Black people that are not so politicized. So the word Senate, even though they're screwing us left and right, as Charles said so adequately, but we're not really Democrats with the big D. We're not Senate with the big S, but we wanted to show some type of stability and not reflective of a failed effort. And I don't say that in a negative sense, but we've been trying, Black United, we've been just this and that, it's not been working. We haven't getting any land, we haven't planted a damn tomato. We went to prison for financing these efforts. We come out and these movements they don't have an acre of land, you're still in an apartment. What the fuck you been doing? What you been doing, man? We did decades in prison. So what we said we're going to do on this lane is all these organizations here and the community movement builders. We give a applaud up for that. The National Black Liberation Movement, Cooperation Jackson, Black Alliance for Peace, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, National Jericho Movement, okay, the Ujima People's Progress Party, Charles Barron's initiative and Sister Melina here. So what we want to do is we want to create a mechanism, all these organizations, to bring them into a more structured, unified space. Out of the silos, we work in silos, And that's a whole thing. And I don't think that's one of Kamal's interrogation questions, because we would be here for a while. How the heck did we end up in these silos? You know, as you know, it's almost like you got a black store in the corner and another one moves down the street. Now you're fearful of this competition. Instead of saying, well, we can put some lights up now, we can get more traffic through here and we can all make some money. So this, hopefully we can reach across into different fields and layers and embrace these organizations. And there's so many more that I'm not mentioning, but Khalid Rahim there, up there and all this. And there's so many, how many organizations here are represented? Just raise your hands, just yell them out if we haven't mentioned.
You can stop now. You can
Okay.
stop.
I love it. I love it. So we want to be able to recruit you, and group may not be the best word, bring you into this network in different regions of the country. You caucus among yourself on a regular basis, and then you begin to nominate your own representatives, which we said senators, because we want to use a word that everybody can relate to that's going to suggest some type of sustainability, all right? And it's not going to be too scary. It's not going to scare your grandmother, your shopkeeper, or somebody else that doesn't know what the heck is going on. Oh, Senate, as opposed to the black anti-fascist. Okay, what the hell are you talking about? All right, so we said Senate. We said People's Senate, but that's what we're going to do. And Kamal, that's pretty much. So we're going to go out throughout the country, which we have. We have over 1,000 public. Kevin, how many people we have signed up in this joint? Yes, people have been signed. We've been doing the groundwork, you know. So once we get the network in different regions, we're going to start caucusing. Eventually, they'll pick their own representatives. These are representatives. It's not a third party, but it's to support these parties and these initiatives. And so these senators, over a period of time, talking fast real good. You're lucky I'm talking fast. I could have been talking like this. Then Kamal would be doing like this. But so I'm talking real fast, so I hope you can feel what I'm saying. So over a period of time, these senators will meet on a regular basis. They'll be able to extrapolate the information and from their constituencies in different regions. They'll be able to prioritize resources, the limited capacity of resources we have. We'll be able to redistribute it. When we need a bigger mic to bring attention to something, we'll have a bigger mic because we'll be united with people that you in your own organization may not even be knowing about. You know, so we'll bring you into a structure that we have unified and is going to suggest some level of governance. So when Melina runs and when Charles runs and Brother Roger and that's when they run, or their legacy, those who follow, run for office, we will have a big enough microphone to be able to encourage people to come out. And the last example I want to say is somebody asked me with the situation in Gaza, the deplorable situation in our support our sisters and brothers in the genocide of Gaza. So a student asked me, well, if the People's Center was established, instead of, you know, how would that impact the demonstrations that we have now? And I gave the example of this. I said, instead of having the remarkable 100,000, 200,000 people marching down the street in New York or in Washington, D.C., you might have had 500,000, because we would be representative of the Black communities that these students are not in. We'll be able to bring these organizations together, get them to be on the same page on different issues and projects, and be able to reach the people and do that political education involvement. So I hope you support the People's Senate. You can go to Spirit of Mandela. Spirit of Mandela is a coalition that and the word Mandela came from the Mandela Rules for the UN. That's what it was. There's a codification of rules of treatment of political prisoners, POWs. You know, that's where it came from. You can go to spiritofmandela.org and you can sign up to support the People's Senate. And I thank you, Kamal, and my comrades here for your
Cool. Thank you. So another open-ended question. We have about 10 minutes left in the panel. And some of this like hit me through what Jihad was saying. And so why don't we have, I know there's many different organizations, but I think it's different for Electoral Party, of course. So why don't we have at this stage one or two at most, but one leading Black radical independent party or independent mechanism in which we're running candidates on? Again, it could be like, what are the limitations? Is it ideological? Is it people are just in different regions and not talking? Is it because people don't prefer to work with this one or that one, you know, all that kind of stuff. So what is happening that, again, through the life of these different projects over, you know, folks have been doing this work for a long time. Why aren't we closer, or are we closer? I don't know for sure, right? To a united independent party that is national in scope, as opposed to sort of the micro elements that we have now. So what's happening and why isn't that why aren't we further along in that struggle around the electoral politics mix? Since,
Right.
yeah.
Well, Charles, before you say something, I just want to say
Okay.
something because I think he was directing it to me, and I failed to address that part of the question. So I'll be very, very brief. In my humble opinion, and I say Allah knows best, is that we've been played, man. We've been played. And a brother that I was in prison with, he used to say it's just not bad enough for us to realize the necessity of unity. We all go back, watch Netflix. Did you see the basketball game last night? Did you do this? Did you do that? It's just not bad enough. And all of us, you know, how many are homeless? We might have experienced homeless in our life, but my God, it's circumstantial. You can come out of that. We got cars, we got vehicles, we got money, we got cash. Look at this place that we're in. And he said, and it was his opinion, and I kind of bleed into that a little bit, it's just not bad enough. And it's even worse now with social media. I can get on social media and be a one-hit wonder with 1 million followers. People that are doing the work that's not on social media, they may have 160 followers. You know, so they playing us, but even with the technology. So when it gets bad enough, they say oppression breeds resistance, but that resistance does not necessarily mean your success, because there's a lot of history of societies that have been in extinction. Doesn't mean that. So don't claim no easy victories and don't tell no lies, claim no easy victories. Like Brother Charles said, we're going to play ourselves. These people wipe you off the damn planet. You know, you can think that they won't. You can think that they won't, but just ask the brothers that have been in prison for 56. Ask Imam Jamil Al-Amin, who's dying, going to be dying 7 months, Allah knows better. Ask those that actually died in prison, didn't get out. Free all political prison, but he died in prison because we weren't able to get him out. So I'm not playing myself about what's really happening. They have us divided in such a way. The small store in the corner, this one there, we're holding on. We want to claim a victory to getting somebody out of prison. You know, we want to do this. And it's a psychological thing that we're playing into it. But when it gets bad enough, this sister at one of these programs I spoke to, the Palestinian resistance thing was one of these universities. They said that here we are still trying to explain to each other the oppressive situation that we're in. In Gaza, you don't have to explain anything, because every 500 yards you walk, there's an AK-47 in my child's face. You don't have to free Palestine. You don't have to explain any. We're still at the stage trying to convince the majority of people that there's even political prisoners. 101. You don't know anything. We're trying to convince somebody that you oppressed. Well, remember Harriet Tubman. We're trying to convince somebody that we should do something for our own. I'm trying to convince you to plant a tomato. I'm trying to convince you. Convince you. Can you imagine that? 2025. You don't realize it yet. So there you go. That's my stump speech. I'm going to get a cup of coffee right now, you know.
Look, give it up for my brother. You know, the reason why, when you speak to this brother, when you speak to Jalil, when I had conversations with my brother, Matulu Shakur, they're not talking about something for them personally. He never once said, because I spent all that time, y'all need to do this for me. It is incredible. Some of us never been to jail, don't even want to go to a meeting. They come out after decades and they're still saying, we got to win. We got to struggle. We got to fight. I love this brother so much because many people, matter of fact, when we was trying to get Jalil out, we was meeting with him, me and the Lumumba Bandeli, and we're trying to tell him, be cool, man. Stop talking about you're going to liberate the whole world. We're trying to get you out of here. He refused to be cool, and still we were able to get him out. But these brothers and sisters, we got to really, really appreciate. A third party, we tried it with the Freedom Party in New York, because our strategy was because they have fusion voting in New York. So you can run and win as a Democrat and have an independent party called the Freedom Party and get votes on that party as well. And in the general election, they will add them together. The problem in our Black communities is 95% of our people are Democrats. And so when you do the general election, they don't even look for your name. They just vote the party down. Unfortunately, we had contradictions within the Freedom Party, like we have in so many things, which is really getting to be ridiculous. All of these differences, and a lot of it is around not ideology, not strategy. Here's where I get in trouble. But the male ego. The male ego. Too many black men have ego problems. We got as many organizations as we have black male egos. So this is the problem we had with the Freedom Party. So we got to reestablish that, and you need a certain amount. Each state has a different amount of numbers. Because I told folks, we wanted to get ballot status in New York. That simply means that you won't have to get the signatures to get on the ballot in November. Doesn't mean you can't be a party. You can't call on your oppressor to validate you as a party. We should have, I was saying, hey, we're a party, whether we get the status or not. That's just a strategy, a tactic. We are a party. We got people, a platform. Let's get moving. But it fell apart. So we're going to revisit that. We do have another group we're working with, Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru Movement. And we got to, support our brothers and sisters in St. Louis with the tornado. So we got to really make sure. And they have a black radical electoral school that they do in St. Louis and in Florida. So every year we're training black revolutionaries, radicals to win elections. And final, buy my book. I wrote a book called Speaking Truth to Power. I gave some out. I didn't bring a lot. You can get it in Barnes and Noble. I don't do Amazon, not like Barnes and Noble online. And in here we have How to Beat the Machine, and we're going to show people also how to stop gentrification, because we could do that.
All right. So I just want to ending comments for 3 more folks. You can use that within my question around party building within your final answers. So we wrapping up, but I would love for you guys to say something real quick.
I think that as we talk about party building, we've got to break those bonds on the people's minds that it's either or. It's only one or the other, Republican or Democrat. No, it's more than that, because Republican and Democrat, someone has said, are just 2 wings of the same bird. So we've got to be able to get people to break out of that limitation of thinking in terms of political parties and get to an understanding of talking to people, talking with people, working with people, and getting them to understand that these other opportunities that have expressions for what your needs are and how you want to see goods and services brought to your community are not limited to one or the other. And the opportunity to have people see Ujima as a party and bringing goods and services is what we need to get that mindset to work with.
So I just want to say thank you again for this panel and for this entire conference. It's been really, really wonderful. It's been really wonderful to be here with you all. I know I'm leaving deeply inspired and committed, right? Beyond inspiration, committed to do work. Again, I just want to emphasize that electoral politics is just one tool in the toolbox. It's one tool in the toolbox, but we got to use that tool too, right? We got to use that tool too. I want to lift up some victories because one of our Babas, Baba Akili, always reminds us we don't do a very good job claiming our victories. And so we should claim our victories. So there was questions throughout the conference about defunding the police. We did defund the police. Not all the way. We didn't all the way defund the police, but these kids in LAUSD defunded school police by 35%. They completely removed, cops are not allowed on campuses in LAUSD. Let me say this, that affects real people. These strategies that we're building, we got to think about how they affect real people. More than anything else, I'm a mama. I got 3 kids. I have a daughter who in the 6th grade had police called on her in the classroom 8 times. The first time as an 11-year-old for having slime in her pocket. The second time for having a look in her eye. The removal of police from our campuses allowed my child 6 years later to have just finished her first year at Southern University with a 3.5 GPA. So we did defund the police and we kicked them off campus. Those are electoral wins. Those are wins that we won because we elected the right people to school boards, because we shifted policy, because we defunded police. And so we got to lift that up. We also have to lift up that, again, as one tool in the toolbox, we need a whole damn toolbox though, right? So it's not enough to always just have a hammer, right? We need screwdrivers and whatever else is in the toolbox. But I think organizing is hugely important, and I just want to lift up the importance of the ongoing organizing work and who we are as Black Lives Matter grassroots. There is a difference. Please follow BLM Grassroots on all social media and go to blmgrassroots.org. Our money, that $100 million that people poured in 2020, those platforms of 5 million people, that was all stolen by highly paid consultants who worked for the Democratic Party. Their names are, since she said it, Shalomia Bowers, who is a Black Zionist who vacations in Israel. Cecily Gay, who actually has a social media post standing in front of cops ogling her, right? Like couture and, you know, believes in Black opulence. And a woman named Dejanay Parker, who's a wannabe Instagram model. But the movement is still moving. And we are BLM Grassroots. We want to stay plugged in. And in doing that, we also, one of the things we were able to do in our run, and I asked folks, what am I missing? What should I say? Is we've been saying 5 things. 1, Black lives still matter. 2, defund the police. We gonna keep saying defund the police. It's not a snappy slogan. It's a policy demand, right? Abolish ICE and abolish police, right? Reparations now, the kind of reparations that comes with a damn check, not just an apology. If all you doing is apologizing and you ain't running me my money, you not sorry, right? And then lastly, we want to say free Palestine. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. And everybody got to get down with those 5 moral minimums.
Real quick, I'm just happy to be up here with all y'all. This is my heart racing. I'm surprised my knee ain't been tapping out my jeans, my pants right now. So I'm just thankful to be on the stage with y'all. And I told the brother Shanti Austin that I watched a video of him talking about the Zapatistas a while ago, and it put me on a path that to be up here now. I just want to uplift the fact that Ojima is we're currently embarking on a project with some scientists from Yale. They were able to help some tenants in Connecticut get the EPA. The kids have been exposed to lead at a dangerous level. They were able to get the EPA to come in there to find the landlords, and it's still an ongoing process. We've reached out to them, and they're helping us to create a mold map of Baltimore City. We're hoping to use that as leverage to build a tenant union and start a going rent strike for everybody in Baltimore City. So if anybody's interested in helping us out with that, just get at me. Appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all. So we're wrapping up. I'm gonna turn it over to M behind me. We got some special announcements as the last part of the convening, and take this part with you, because part of that is, I'm just going to say this, one part of it is we will have a room to discuss electoral politics, and how do we get more folks who want to do that work involved in that work collectively, right? But there are going to be other rooms for other things to discuss. And as I said, I think at the beginning of the conference, those are the spaces in which we hope to do the work that is post-conference. And then we're going to, yes, we want to discuss that work. So let's get the round of applause to the panel one more time. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Appreciate y'all.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all so much. Give it up for them, y'all.